Okay, everyone. We are streaming live, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It is 6:03 p.m. This is a special meeting of the Board of Selectmen that we have convened this evening. It is being audio. Okay, everyone. It is being audio and video recorded. It will be streamed live on YouTube and replayed on Channel 9 on its regular schedule. I assume you can participate via the 3 normal ways that we allow participation: email, telephone, and of course via Zoom. And we are remotely, exclusively remote this evening. And with that, I do ask that everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. As is customary, we're going to start our meeting with public input. So if someone has public input unrelated to something on the agenda, you are free to unmute yourself and speak. If it's related to something on the agenda, I do ask that you hold your public input until we get to that particular item in our meeting this evening. Okay, hearing none. Madam Administrator, I wanted to give you the floor.
Sure. Good evening. The Blue Wave Solar folks, which are currently going through some permitting processes remaining, I think they're in front of stormwater at this juncture. They're still interested in pursuing the pilot agreement with the town. That is under legal review. I do expect that for your next meeting next week, but it does need to go on as a warrant article item. And I forgot to put it on there last meeting. So I was hoping that if you were so inclined, you would put that on the warrant for our November 16th meeting, and we could proceed. And if your negotiations did not hammer out in time, the warrant article would simply have no motion, or you'd pass without action or something to that effect. Did you hear me?
I did. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. My apologies. Welcome to Zoom. We all know it well, right? My, I guess, pause was only because do we have a warrant? There is a warrant article, right? It's written. It's just not here.
It would be something along the lines of to accept the solar pilot the pilot agreement as negotiated by the Board of Selectmen. It's ratifying.
Okay. Yep. So I will entertain motions. I'm fine with that. Of course, we would, this is all contingent upon negotiations and, having a pilot agreement that we stand by and believe in. So I will entertain motions if the board is so moved.
So do we have to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have to open up the warrants then?
You would open up the warrant again or reopen the warrant to place this as a warrant article item, and then close it again. Your other option is to defer this to the annual if you don't feel comfortable kind of preemptively placing this warrant article on there. I have this before you because it seemed like you all had very favorable responses to the proposals. So that's why this is here. So you have a couple of options.
I want to make a motion to reopen the warrants.
I will step down and second that motion for discussion.
Unmute.
Selectman Goulart, you're on mute. I'm sorry. We'll wait. Don't worry.
What feedback are we talking about? I haven't seen anything from the Board of Assessors. This has got to be a discussion between assessors, selectmen. I don't know who else we might bring in. I have real concerns about putting an article on a warrant when we haven't even, at least I have not seen anything near an acceptable pilot agreement. Speaking from experience, it's a nightmare if you put it on there and go to town meeting and can't recommend it. Been there, done that twice. The other thing I will point out is we'd probably be better off putting this on another town meeting, and it doesn't have to be the annual, it can be a special. And the reason I'm saying that is we have a, I'll call it a proposal, again, not negotiated, a proposal for phase 1 of the Elm Street project. This is the company that asked us to give them a copy of the pilot agreement that got rejected, and they recently sent something in. But again, it hasn't been discussed by the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Assessors. I don't know if the assessors even got copies to review, but I think this is premature. And as far as them coming before the Stormwater Committee, that doesn't really affect a pilot agreement, but they're not scheduled for the meeting tomorrow because we've got 2 public hearings tomorrow, and we would schedule a public hearing for this solar farm also, probably in November at our November meeting.
So the assessor has been involved in the conversations, and she's ready to discuss it with the Board of Selectmen. She's in writing to me via email. She has no issues. And the discussion is slated for your October 21st meeting. This is what I call an extra meeting. So I placed it on here to talk about it because it gives us an extra week. But I understand if you don't want to go forward. We did talk about this previously. But I mean, that makes.
I don't want the stuff for today's meeting. I got today. I realized we had a holiday this week. I don't want to see a solar project given to me on the 20th with expecting me to say something on the 21st.
I'm not expecting.
I think we're putting the cart before the horse. We can have a special meeting, but we've got to go into a town meeting knowing exactly what we're talking about. The reason the other 2 got defeated was, in addition to not knowing who we were dealing with, the terms and conditions were not acceptable. I am concerned that this has gone to legal counsel without review by the Board of Selectmen, because if we want to change it, it's got to go back to legal again. We're not following the right kind of steps for this, is my concern.
Any further discussion? So we will have a conversation with, so Mrs. Beauregard is coming to the October 21st meeting, Madam Administrator?
Yes.
And what was Mrs., maybe the whole board didn't meet, but what was the general feedback, if any, on this from our principal assessor?
Just that she's in support of it, that the amounts proposed were very much commensurate with your average price per kilowatt, that it made sense. It was fair agreement, things like that. I mean, I asked the assessors to meet. I'm not sure if they did. I agree with Selectman Goulart about the process. It's just not panning out that way. I'm sorry. You had discussed this proposition, I guess, when Blue Wave Solar was before you. I think that was in July. My apologies. I thought that you had seen the agreement. Apparently, I'm wrong. I believe you. I think that I'm just wrong.
I've seen one proposed solar agreement, and I can't tell you if it was Blue Wave or phase 1 of, I'll call it Elm Street. One of the proposals was, or the one I saw, was that there was no front end loading. I've made it clear from day one. These solar agreements should be front end loaded so that when they are making the most energy, generating the most energy, and I would think they would be at capacity for income, that's when the town would get the higher amounts. And as the equipment ages and they produce less electricity, that's when their payments would decrease. I haven't seen anything about front end loading. We've talked about that going back to the 2 that got rejected. Oh, excuse me, got tabled.
Mm-hmm. So this motion just pertains to reopening the warrant. Do we have any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me, my phone fell, I apologize. Opposed?
No.
Abstentions? The ayes have it, that motion passes. So we did, not by unanimous vote, but we did vote to open the warrant. Madam Administrator?
Now, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, based on Selectman Goulart's remarks.
Mhm.
But now it would just be whether or not you'd like to place this as an item, on the town meeting warrant. Meaning the acceptance of the pilot agreement.
I'm just thinking, my
Oh,
apologies.
I'm sorry,
Nope, it's okay.
It's hard with Zoom. It's hard to.
It is very hard with Zoom. So I'm going to be completely honest. The one pilot agreement that was approved at a town meeting, I didn't actually support that one either. So I am a little hesitant. However, I did like the ideas that Blue Wave Solar put forth. So I am open to it. I feel a little bit better knowing that it seems like our principal assessor, who is pretty familiar with pilot agreements and has been to seminars, I believe with Selectman Goulart on them, seems to be supportive of it. So I'm willing to see what it is. I'm willing to put it on the warrant. I am not willing to say I'm going to support it, and I'm not willing to say I'm going to make a motion on it as of right now. Does that make sense? Okay.
Me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my position too. So I'm going to make a motion that we put the Blue Wave Solar host agreement on the warrant for November 16th. Doesn't mean I'm committing to it, but
It's not a host agreement, it's a pilot agreement.
a pilot agreement, excuse me.
It's okay. And I feel the same way, Selectman Pacheco. My last remark on this would simply to be, I feel very much strongly, such as does Selectman Goulart, that if this pilot agreement doesn't make sense, I do urge my colleagues to not make any motions and to let's just, because you don't want to open a conversation about it at the town meeting. It's a pretty tricky conversation to have. So I definitely see where Selectman Goulart is coming from on that for sure.
You would also have the opportunity when you vote on your recommendations to sort of tell the public where you're at with it. That's all.
Correct. And then the only thing is, if we don't make a motion and it says Board of Selectmen does not recommend, then it makes it look like.
Why'd you put it on there?
Correct. And not just that, then it's almost like it feels a little bit like a kiss of death, because then we can't also explain why we're not making a motion, and explain the nuances of it. But I'm going to proceed as I stated before. Yep, Madam Administrator.
Just last thing. So also at the end of your discussion on the 21st, you can take it off. You can also, if you don't want to do this tonight because you don't have all the information, you can vote to redo it or vote to put it on or not next week as well. You have time, basically, is my thought.
I'm sorry, my last question would be, and then Selectman Goulart. So when do we need to have the warrant finalized with all of the recommendations for mailing? Oh, we don't.
Well, we have to post by November 2nd.
Sure.
So we would have the administrative time after your meeting on the 21st.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we don't mail the special. We only mail the annual, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, Selectman Goulart?
How many pages is the proposed agreement? And how fast can I get a copy?
I can email it to you right now.
If it's a gazillion pages, I can't print it. I want a hard copy. How fast? Can I get it tomorrow at Town Hall?
Sure, I'll print it tonight before we leave here and leave it on your desk.
Okay.
Do you mind printing?
I'll print 3. If I print for one, I print for all 3. Yeah.
You can just email me mine. Thank you. Any further discussion on? Oh, I'm sorry, Madam.
Sorry, just Selectman Pacheco, that was a motion for a print, right? You did this. You want a printed copy?
Yeah. Yes.
Any further discussion on this? We had a motion and a second to add this pilot agreement to the special town meeting warrant. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Abstentions? The ayes have it. That motion passes. Madam Administrator, do we need to have a new motion to reclose the warrant, or should we keep it open pending our discussion with the assessor?
For second, I would say keep it open until your next meeting, or we'll put an item on the agenda to close the warrant. But that way it gives you flexibility to take that off if it's not acceptable to you.
Is everyone okay with that? I know
Yes.
you oppose it, Selectman Goulart, but are you okay with us keeping this open and maybe taking it off?
the warrant open only for this article, because we
Yes.
don't want more coming in.
No.
Yeah.
We're not opening the floodgates here.
It-
Good point, Selectman Goulart. Okay, and we took that vote, correct?
I think,
Yes, Selectman Goulart
yeah,
voted no.
she voted no.
Yep, and Selectman Pacheco and I supported, no abstentions. Okay.
Yep.
I don't have a pen and paper in front of me. My apologies. Usually I write vote in capital letters to remind myself.
And you don't have the little book.
I don't. It's in the meeting room. My apologies. Okay, 1 second. I did get an email from Cable, and it seemed urgent, so bear with me just a moment. My apologies. Yes, so I just want to reiterate to my colleagues, we do need to conclude this meeting by 6:50 p.m. to give the zoning board time to log in and start their own YouTube stream. They have a meeting at 7 p.m. My apologies. So yes, Cable, if you're watching, we will be respectful of their time. We have no old business. And next, under new business, is to accept the resignation of our town administrator. My position has always been that the announcement is our town administrators to make. So I do want to yield the floor to you, Madam Administrator.
Thank you. So I have made a difficult decision in reaching out and applying to the town of Swansea's town administrator role. It's quite an opportunity for me and an exciting one. So I applied and was appointed by the Board of Selectmen there last week, and we finalized negotiations yesterday. So I am submitting, a little bittersweetly, my resignation from this town. Dayton has been quite amazing. It truly is the gem of Bristol County. I loved it here. Even just crossing over the bridge, I smile and I laugh because it is like a transport to just a really different town. And it's quite beautiful. And I reveled in it a little bit today because of all the changing leaves. So I have learned immensely. I have grown professionally and personally here. I've enjoyed so much working on all the different projects that Dayton presents. It's in such a great position for these grant opportunities, for these plans. I've said it many times that Selectman Goulart has made so much headway in stormwater, more than any other community I've ever encountered. And because of that, Dayton is on the map, so to speak, for getting these grants and aggressively fixing flooding and responding to climate change endeavors. So I thank the board for the support and the opportunity. I thank the residents. It's been a privilege and an honor to serve this town, and a distinct one to be the first. And I am very, very thankful for the opportunity here.
Thank you very much. I don't want to get emotional. So what I will say.
Me neither.
It has been a privilege. You've made a big impact. And I feel like we're better because you were here. And I do think that you'll be down the road, and I do think you've set us up on the trajectory where we've professionalized things. And I think that example, we will carry that legacy on in your absence. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If I can make a comment also, Mallory, I'm gonna miss you dearly. I was on the board. You were already a town administrator, so my colleagues had the experience of not having a town administrator, so I'm comfortable with you. I'm upset and disappointed that you're leaving us, quite frankly. I understand why you're leaving. You're young, you're looking for your future, you have to be concerned about your family and their needs. I grew up in Swansea, so you're going to a great town, but I wish you could change your mind. And if we have to make a motion to accept your resignation, can we refuse the resignation and not accept it?
Good, I guess.
but truly, Mallory, you've been a big asset to the town. The townspeople respect you a lot. They're going to miss you, as we're all going to miss you. The board's going to miss you. And I am so sad about this situation, quite frankly. So I'm going to miss you. Thank you.
Selectman Goulart.
I congratulate you, Mallory. I've told you all along, having once been a working mother with only one child, opportunities for us don't come very often. And when an opportunity arises, we have to look at them. No question about it. Some of them you look at and say, I'm better off where I am. But others come along and you say, wow, this might be one. And I think you found that in the town of Swansea. I'm glad to hear that you have a contract negotiated, obviously have a job description, have
and didn't have to put it together herself.
I wasn't going to say that, but
It was there. We all picked it up.
when you talk about growing in a job, you have been very receptive. When a situation came up and you would ask me something, I'd say, hey, check out the UMass website. We've made good use of public information and not having to, let's say, go outside or even hire people to write some of the policies we've adopted because we were able to tailor them to our own use. I agree, you've grown greatly in the job. I think you are respected by the people here. I think that the people in Swansea are fortunate to get you, but I will go back to what I said originally. Yes, it's too bad you're leaving, but as I said, working women nowadays must look at what is available and what is being offered, because as much as everybody says, equal opportunity, it's not there yet. And that's why it's important. And I'm not saying that you won't work in Swansea till you retire, but by the same token, your opportunities, now that you've completed just about 3 years in Dayton, you're going into Swansea, I think more opportunities will open up, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we won't forget where I came from, for sure.
Now that I have composed myself, I was telling Leanne and Karen in the office today, so everybody, you get an insight into our backroom conversations. As I was leaving, I turned to them and I said, whoever it is, whoever will be Dayton's second town administrator, will have some very important heels to fill.
Right.
That is for sure.
It better be red and high, right?
Exactly.
Tell them to watch out for the slats in the old town hall meeting room.
Yeah, and
They're trapped.
and the little pieces of carpeting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for those comments. Sorry, I just want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I get emotional when I think about leaving Dayton because there have been some episodes here that we've handled together that have really that have really forged me to be a very distinct and proud leader. And I'll leave it with that, but it's been quite an honor to serve this town. It's been amazing, and I thank everyone from dealing with all the changes we put forward and the full steam ahead efforts, the amazing progress in a short amount of time. It does take a village, it takes a team, and we have a great one in Dayton, and I was lucky to be part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Madam Administrator. Before we move on and accept your letter of resignation, is there anyone who wanted to give public input pursuant to our town administrator?
Oh, boy.
Mallory,
I wish I had tissues in here.
I just wanted to wish you all of the best. When we spoke a couple weeks ago, I told you that I was sad to hear of your potential departure. But I agree with Selectman Goulart. It is tough out there. We know this. It's hard for working moms, and we, take what we can get. And you are one hard worker, but you have an amazing heart in everything that you do. And I hope that we can stay in touch. And, I just thank you so much for all of your service.
Thank you very much. I'm still a neighbor. I'm just to the south.
And anyone else who has public input regarding the resignation of the town administrator, you can feel free to unmute yourself and speak.
Hi, this is Bob Henrique. I just wanted to say, Mallory, thank you for everything from the town of Dayton, for watching from afar. Haven't really got involved yet, just starting, and you're already going to be missed. So good luck to you. My sister lives in Swansea, so I told her she's got a winner, and you're gonna bring them to some great places. So thank you for all you know. Really, from the town, we really appreciate it, and you're gonna be missed. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
That's right.
Anybody else?
That's what it's all about. Residents.
Okay, I will entertain motions to accept the resignation of our town administrator, Mallory Aronstein.
Mr.
I
Chairman,
so move with regret.
And thanks.
I was going to say with thanks and regret for her service to the town. And I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And again, I just I meant what I said. I know there's a part of you who probably feels a little bit sad to leave, but I told the reporter, he's on the call today, Mr. DeCicco, I told him you didn't owe us anything. And I meant that. You don't owe us anything. You worked around the clock. So thank you. Hearing none, no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. That motion passes. Okay. Next on our agenda, bear with me just a moment, is the two different proposals that we had received. These two vendors or consulting search firms, MRI Consultants and Community Paradigm, were the only two who gave us proposals back in 2017 before we hired our current town administrator, Mallory Aronstein. I don't know if everyone had a chance to review the proposals in detail, so I just wanted to sort of set the scene. Madam Administrator, I'm going to give it over to you to see if you have any opinions. You've just been through a search, so I think your opinion is pretty relevant to this. I do want to point out two things. Both proposals were for the exact same total, which was $9,800, excluding advertisement fees, which both will have, their own advertisement fees. We currently have $20,262.33 in our professional and technical account, and we have more monies in our various what we call 70 accounts, which Mrs. Brady schooled me on today in the office. And so with that, I do want to throw this over to you, Madam Administrator, as someone familiar with the two consulting firms. You worked with both of them in various capacities, so you have the floor.
Thank you. That's right. So MRI hired me for Dayton, and Mr. Lynch of Community Paradigm conducted the Swansea search. For the process, I would say that I found, now, of course, I didn't have, I don't know, I guess I had the same outlook, but I would say that community paradigm tends to walk the boards through it a little bit better, in my opinion, really setting you up for success, and will tailor his service to what it is that you need. He makes himself available for all of your questions. As far as an applicant going through the process, I didn't use MRI in the Board of Selectmen sense. I just saw what he did with Swansea and provide those comments to you. I did not have that luxury on coming into Dayton. I don't know how MRI, so maybe that's a little unfair of me to say. But as far as an applicant, I actually really enjoyed the community paradigm process. I think that Bernie casts a very wide net and will work diligently to match the person with this job. Every town is different. Every town has, I know people say, oh, it's the same and it's the same anywhere. Nope. Every town has its own identity, in my opinion, and you really need the right leader. Here in Dayton, I think you need a strong-willed, opinionated person. So that's what I think you should try to find for somebody to sit in this seat. And I think Bernie will take all that you say and really, make that happen. He knows a lot of the current applicants out there. He's had a slew of recent recruitments, so he's had the ability to hear some of these folks interview, and he can really match up. I have not seen that same widespread activity with MRI. And of course, I care about Dayton very much. I know I'm leaving, and that's a weird thing to say, but I definitely do care about this town and the work that we have set up and the projects that are about to unroll. I firmly believe we'll get every grant I just applied for this past month. So the person will be busy. But I think that Bernie Lynch will really do a job well done here for you. And then if I have a couple of people I know that I think would do a pretty good job here as well, if you'd like to take those, I can share that off camera.
Yes. So first of all, your work as the Dayton Town Administrator may, be coming to an end at the end of the month. However, I know that you are familiar just through like different meetings you've gone to and just different projects you've worked on, vendors, Massachusetts government people you've worked with. So a lot of people. So I suspect you probably know a lot of the candidates and other town administrators as well. So I'll definitely be in touch for the down low, if you will, on potentially our second town administrator. There was also, can we touch upon something else that I think is relevant? You had mentioned something, and I thought this tied into what we've been trying to do with redoing our website and, having a policy manual and really professionalizing our town services. You mentioned something about branding, and I don't know if you wanted to expound upon that regarding community paradigm, because I thought that was an important piece.
Oh, so as a part of the community statement that you get, you mean? Mm-hmm. So even if you didn't decide to go to a recruiter, what they can do for you as far as providing a very concise, clear document, like a window, if you will, into the town, it's valuable. And it's valuable as a branding tool to tell potential residents, people moving in, potential businesses. I know that we've been working hard to increase our business occupants here, our commercial activity. So it's just as a tool, that community statement that comes out of the profile that is put forth to professionals like myself to kind of analyze and look at the town and see what it's all about. MRI will provide that as well. Both of that will just come with it. And it's a good tool, and you should keep it or, modify it a little bit to be used in not a job recruitment, but in an everything recruitment, a business recruitment, a resident recruitment, just a little bit about your town, who you are, who we are, and what we have going on. It'll give a financial impact statement. It'll talk, really well-rounded bit. And I think of Selectman Pacheco when he first came on the board, because he was like looking for documents basically to explain where we're at all concisely. This would be that. This would help. We don't have those concise documents. Well, maybe we have them now. But anyway, it's something like that too, kind of a who's who, what's what of Dayton. And it can be used for, a bit of a complement to the business guide, for example. Something like that.
I agree, Madam Administrator. So I do want to open this up to questions, statements from my colleagues. I do want to give my opinion first, if it matters. Just in reviewing both proposals, and again, Selectman Goulart and I guess we're fortunate enough to work with MRI on the first round when we hired Town Administrator Aronstein. To me personally, 3 years later, I'm looking at the community paradigm proposal, and to me, it seems more reflective of a current town administrator search. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. I recall distinctly from the last search in 2017, where Madam Administrator, you had to complete an essay. And
5 of them.
Yeah, to me that feels a little bit like a homework assignment for a young child. And I think we should have our search reflect the professionalism that we're going to expect, that we've first of all come to expect, thanks to the example that our current town administrator has left us. But I think we're going to want that to continue with our next town administrator. So those are my, I guess, 5 cents on which firm I'm supporting. Selectman Pacheco or Selectman Goulart?
Yeah, I'll speak. So I was not involved in the last time we hired a town administrator when the town hired Mallory. So I'm interested in listening to my colleagues as far as which one they think is best. I am leaning towards Community Paradigm Associates. I was impressed with what they presented us. The fact that they were able to get to pick and recommend Mallory as one of the top five candidates. They whittled it down to 2, and Swansea eventually picked her. I do want to remind the board we got about 10 minutes left before we have to end this meeting. So I'm going with Community Paradigm, but I'd be interested in listening to Mrs. Goulart.
Yeah, I've looked at this, these 2 proposals. What I liked about Paradigm was that they listed a bunch of communities where they have filled positions. And some of these I am very familiar with, and some of them I know what the outcomes were. Yeah, I'm leaning, I have nothing bad to say about the other company. Like I say, this is a new one for me. I liked being able to see all those communities, and I really focused on the town manager, town administrator listing. I know people in lots of towns. So yeah, I would lean also towards Paradigm. Hey, the one thing I will point out, Dr. Z,
Sure.
Tell them to get rid of this front page. They have no authority to use the town seal unless they got it in writing from Sue. So that's a violation of state law. Their front page should be the one that says this from them, okay? Get rid of the page with the town seal on it. That's a real no-no. Other than that, I would go with them.
Sure. So he may have had the consent that, because that was Swansea, not Dayton. So no worries, Bernie. Mr. Lynch, excuse me. Well, talking about him like he's Bernie Sanders.
Well, he's just that kind of.
Yeah. So I spoke to Mr. Lynch over the weekend. He, just like Madam Administrator, is very available. Seems like a really hard worker. No disrespect to MRI. Obviously, they were the vessel that brought Mallory Aronstein to Dayton, so we're very appreciative for them. However, I'm leaning towards Community Paradigm because they're in the mix. They helped Swansea fill their town administrator role due to a unfortunate passing with our town administrator. So they, I think, have kind of their finger on the pulse in terms of the town administrator search right now. So with that being said, I will entertain motions, and Selectman Goulart, I'll speak to Mr. Lynch about the cover page, don't worry.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, I will entertain motions, Selectman Goulart.
move that we award the contract for executive search services for the new town administrator to Community Paradigm Associates LLC at a contract price of $800.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Under discussion, Mrs. Brady or Mrs. Aronstein. So for any of the advertising fees, do we have to approve those separately as a board? How is that going to work?
It would
I know
just
it's the
come out of your
$700.
operating. It's just going to come out of your operating expenses that you're going to go place an ad, just like we would place an ad for any other vacancy we would have.
Okay.
Are we still going to advertise in the Beacon?
Yes, we are. Yep. I just wanted to be clear with my colleagues. We called this meeting this week instead of waiting till the 21st because in doing our due diligence, me and Mrs. Brady realized the cutoff for the Beacon advertisement, I believe, is the 20th of October. And so everybody was nice enough to meet this week on an off week. So I really appreciate that. But we obviously didn't want to wait till December to advertise. Madam Administrator has really blazed quite the path here. There's a lot of work that I know that you do that is going to fall upon us in your absence. So I'm being a little selfish in attempting to try to fill this spot with someone hopefully as qualified and as energetic and competent as you as quickly as possible. We need another Mallory. If you have a sister.
I do. She's a nurse.
In the field. All right. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. That motion passes. One last question before we move on. The advertisement, that's something that Community Paradigm will craft.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. I think he had said that.
Is he going to do
Alright.
the Beacon? Will
I'm
he do
sorry?
the Beacon?
He
Yes.
can do that. He really does respond to whatever it is that you want him to do.
Okay, we just don't
Yeah,
want to miss the deadline.
He's a former administrator himself, so he gets the working
Yes.
board dynamic.
I liked that about him as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on our agenda is to ratify the clerical union contract. So I will entertain motions.
I'll make a motion that the town of Dayton and the approve the contract with the Massachusetts Laborers District Council on behalf of the Public Employees Local Union 272 of the Laborers International Union of North America, AFL-CIO.
Okay. I will step down and second that motion. Discussion.
My main concern about this, as I've made known to you, is the sick leave bank. I really strongly believe that a sick leave bank, one employer, town of Dayton, should be open to all eligible employees, and that in effect, they could all benefit from it if they chose. It would not be mandatory, and the town would not contribute time to it. And the fact that this is only contained in this particular contract, although I know there was another one, if you don't have enough people involved, if you don't have enough members, sick leave banks don't work. And I just think that this is, having been a member of one for 12 plus years, fortunately never had to use it, but it was there, and it's like taking care of one another, and what you contribute to it a day at a time is minimal, but it certainly is beneficial if somebody is in need.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'll just say I concur with Mrs. Goulart that other employees also be able to take advantage of this. And as contracts come up, we ought to negotiate this and put this in their contract also.
Anything else?
Nope.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
The ayes have it. The contract is ratified. The clerical union contract is ratified. Madam Administrator, if it's okay with you, I don't actually have any information on the last agenda item.
I do.
Yes,
I
thank you.
do,
I
yes.
suspected you then. OPEB trust, Madam
Right.
Administrator.
So if you go very quickly, I have 2 minutes. If you remember in the annual town meeting, we had a special article about creating an OPEB trust. It's just a little housekeeping that we failed to do previously. We've been funding OPEB rather aggressively, which is a very good thing. And so now we're just setting up the trust. Town meeting gave us the authorization. We've reviewed documents with council. The treasurer shall be the trustee, and the chair, as the chief executive board of the town, needs to sign this, and then the treasurer will sign this, and then our trust is then created. It's just a little extra protection for the OPEB account, and something that they request towns to do to really just make sure your OPEB liability is all covered. And town council was okay with the language, had minimal suggestions.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt the OPEB trust as recommended.
I will step down and second that I'm sorry, I didn't know if Selectmen, there's a lag sometimes, so I will step down and second that motion. Discussion?
Yes, we weren't given any paperwork on this, right? We weren't given a copy of this trust that we're going to be voting on.
No, that's because it goes through the treasurer. She's the keeper of the money. So this is one of her veins, but it's for the town and it's an employment, not policy, but employment item. So the selectmen vote on it. If you need more information, you're meeting next week. You can get it.
I guess I would like to hear from Mrs. Goulart.
If we don't have to do it tonight, and if you want more information, I'm willing, if Dr. Z withdraws the second, I'll withdraw the motion so that you can get a copy and look at it.
That's fine. I'm gonna have to sign it, so I'm okay with that. I was happy to vote on it, but if everyone wants to wait, I'm fine with that too. It's not gonna hold anything up. I will retract my second.
Okay, and I withdraw the motion.
And then, does someone want to make a motion, maybe just take it under advisement or act on it next week or
Mr.
something?
Chairman, I move that we take the adoption of the OPEB trust under advisement and place it on the agenda for the October 21st meeting.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So in the meantime, if we get, I'd like a hard copy, and that way, if we get it, we'll at least have a chance to ask the treasurer if anyone has questions.
Would you like her to attend?
That would probably be a good idea. I know she's acted as the trustee since this thing was incepted. I think we set it up under Mary, as a matter of fact. I think she was the treasurer. But in any case, yeah, I think it would be good if everyone understands that we're formalizing her. She's been the trustee, but this kind of formalizes it. And when I say her, it's really the treasurer, whoever the treasurer is.
Mm-hmm. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. That motion passes. So we'll continue that discussion on the 21st, I believe, is our next meeting. All right. Well, so zoning board has their meeting coming up. They have a public hearing at 7 p.m. on YouTube. So we will, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. That motion passes. Everyone have